a week's
Yeah, at a week's, yeah.
catching CRI and
Yeah, we're gonna get rid of
Mobile.
CRI and mobile,
all
yeah.
that.
Then that whole area, there will be fiber now. Because everything east of there is straight, it's all fiber already. Last year's job,
Yeah.
project. We're done with Perryton. Well, which is like phase 3 in industrial. So we finished phase 1 and 2.
When we put that first fiber in between Guyman and Hooker, 8 fiber.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Worked on that one,
we'll
so-
never need more than 8 fibers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had a, what, Nortel FT565. Hell, we'll never need more than 12 DS3s. Yeah.
But now there's, what, 12 or 14 288s coming out of the basement central office.
Yeah.
Heck, Hooker itself has like 14 coming out of that office. So, someone's got 14. Spearman's got about the same. Greg CO actually has 1, 2, 3, 4 new patch panels in each one. There's 3 96s and 1 288 out of Greg CO.
Griggs.
But Greg CO feeds a lot of area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feeds all the way down to Carrick and west of Carrick and
Yeah. Not a lot of customers,
east
but a lot of
east of
areas.
Cimarron feeders, or now it's Five Rivers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got my yard mowed this morning because it was hot enough doing it this morning.
Well,
Yeah.
I should have, but it was wet, so, from the dew, so I didn't.
Yeah, mine was damp, but I mowed it anyway.
Yeah. Probably should have. Yeah, I got all week to get it done, so. It doesn't take very long. Half an hour, I can get both front and the back mowed.
Takes me about-
Takes as long to weed eat it as it does to mow it.
Takes me about 2.5 hours with my 60-inch mower.
With your 60-inch mower,
About 2 hours, I guess we would say.
Got a lot of area to mow though.
did you get tired doing that?
You know, my wrist hurt from sitting like this.
Yeah.
And I've adjusted it to go down, but it's down as much as it can go.
Maybe you need to raise it up where you're like this.
It's easy to. I can't believe I'm complaining about having to ride a zero-turn lawnmower.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I bought a new mower here last year. A Toro, a 30-inch cut.
30.
I don't have, I don't have a big enough yard to do a riding lawnmower.
Yeah, that's me.
But that 30-inch cut makes it a lot faster than, of course, a $2,000
Well, yeah.
lawnmower.
I'm just stay with my 22-inch
Yeah.
Toro. And
Matthew and Jeff are coming, correct? Rose, you're gonna be neither the chairman or vice chairman here. I nominate you.
I text him. My apologies. I had some blood work being done. I'm moving a little slow right now.
Could they find some? Okay, we'll call the meeting to order for the June 17th meeting. In terms of roll call, I'm going to let the esteemed lady down at the end call roll to ensure we're all here.
Poe. Rose.
Here.
January.
Here.
Kaufman, there she is. Bajan. Winters. Moon.
Here.
Barrera.
Here.
And Egberts.
Here.
We do have quorum.
Okay, a quorum's been declared. Next item on the agenda is the public comments from previous meetings or anything that wants to be discussed. The floor is open to anybody that wants to say anything that is a public member.
I haven't had any turned in, so.
Okay, we'll move right on. Okay, action to discuss the minutes from the February 18th meeting. Any changes or discussions that need to be brought to the board's attention?
Make the motion, we accept minutes as presented.
Motion's been made that we accept the minutes,
I'll second it.
seconded by Mr. Eckert.
Okay, Poe. Rose.
Aye.
January.
Aye.
Kaufman.
Aye.
Bajan. Winters. Moon.
Aye.
Barrera.
Aye.
And Egbert. We have
Aye.
6 ayes.
Motion is made and accepted. Okay, board and staff comments. Let's move on to that. The golf 3-year comparison. I guess everybody's had a chance to look at that. I will be honest, that's above my pay grade when it comes to numbers. Math was not my favorite subject, so I just know what's in the bank account, and I like that, or what's not. So any questions or concerns as this plan was put together? Looks pretty impressive.
I agree with you, it's above my pay grade, so
Okay, we've got two.
it all works for me.
Have we, Mike, is there any updates on anything that you'd like to bring to the group's attention?
On the financials, I personally, as your manager, I think it's looking better now than it has on kudos to everybody that goes out to the golf and everything, pays the bills. So that's the plus. So, I do have some stuff, some ongoing upkeep, and I apologize, I didn't make copies of that, but trash receptacles, I guess what they're 18 holes up there. We're buying 20 of them, so those should be coming in the next couple, 3 or 4, 5 weeks. The Department of Corrections. I didn't know are producing and making these custom made for us because you just can't buy a little short trash can. You drive by and throw the trash in. So that's a good thing. It's going to replace all those old redwood containers. We've been looking at some upgrades of replacing some of those rotten ties around some of the drives there. I think it's 14, I think there's 3 of them. We went out for bids. Well, sure enough, after I went out for bids, I got some more feedback. So we're going to put everything on hold, all those rotten ties around those. They're just falling apart. And they're really unsafe. Somebody's going to try to think that there's a step there. There's not going to be a step and break and everything. So, I'd like to get maybe just some informal feedback from you, the board, on the stem walls. We're thinking about just doing concrete stem walls. And I thought maybe going back with a little, and not just making concrete, but kind of a stucco, they smear stucco on it, just don't pan. So then somebody said, well, why can't you, they got all kinds of stuff. You can make it look like lumber brick or something like that. But on those stem walls, any ideas? Have you heard anything, Matt?
I haven't heard much, but at least like maybe on number 1's tee box, on the back there, I think maybe doing some type of brick on the back of it, or something that maybe looks like brick, and then we could, you know, put an S and an H, or stencil some kind of logo of some sort to put at least right there as soon as you pull up to number 1. I think that would look cool. I've seen some other courses do something where it might be a brick or a cement retaining wall around it, and then they just kind of brick the back of it, a couple stacks or something. I've seen that look really good. That was just kind of maybe an idea I had in one spot, but like you said, I think there's a lot of different possibilities that we could choose from. We just kind of all need to figure out what we want.
After we went out for bids, we found out later that they can form that, make it look like brick, make it look like panel.
To piggyback off Matt's idea, I think to add some kind of artwork on the wall, and we've got some really good local artists that could probably do
Oh,
something.
okay, yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that, and like I said, it doesn't have to be
That
all
ties into
by
the-
any means. I kind of had that little envision in my mind for a while, just specifically on number 1 right there, because, you know, that one's head tall, if not a little taller, versus some of those other ones, you know, only being about waist high or something.
Well, I mean, I think you're talking about a branding, you know, kind of, so maybe not rebranding, but because some sort of a branding.
Right.
And I would like to stick with something I think that is very classy and like, you know, like when you go to a, for lack of a better term, to a country club or something like that, you know, keep a classy, smooth, less upkeep, that we can always, you know, that's timeless, I guess is what I'm saying.
I like the ideas. What we'll go back is probably get some design artists, because right now we're about 55,000 just doing plain concrete. We're doing all 3 of them, so we'll try to get kind of stages. I'll come back and probably email out some sketches of kind of, I'll get somebody a lot more glamour and a lot
Yeah.
more forethought.
And I'm not exactly sure what the bid workers or whatever had in mind specifically on number 14 or whatever, but I think it would be best if we would just do 1L. You know how that T-box kind of splits in half? I think it would be best if we just did a straight line with the L on the back, and we try to, you know, maybe fill in that little gap and make that T-box more flatter and more of a rectangle shape, instead of having that little drop off in the middle there.
Well, it sounds like maybe we need to do just a little bit more out there and get some more ideas. So we'll just not put that on hold. We'll continuing moving this forward, because there's some extra funds that we'll be using for that.
What about the path on hole number 1? The road up there, it's terrible.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm gonna do a thing. That's the major plan, but I'll just go ahead and just roll into that. I've got an architectural or design firm or an engineering firm. What I've found, and maybe, hopefully that y'all, have you ever seen a cart path plan? No, good. We're fixing to have one. It's just in the development. We've already signed a contract with Earl's Engineering out of Liverpool, and they've just done about 2 or 3 of them throughout the state of Kansas, so we're pretty familiar. But he'll be bringing some a master plan that will complete the cart paths, and we got to get that rolling. That's all there is to it. One thing is tearing up all the cars. Next thing is, it's just kind of like the pasture. If you don't want to go there, you start going over here. And there's so many different roads out there, it's confusing and it's tearing up a lot of grass. So we'll have a master plan in place that maybe we can do. I'm just going to say, you know, $30,000 or $50,000 a year, wherever the asphalt will take us. It'll all be engineered and ready to go. So you'll be getting copies of that. Now, have you seen surveyors out there besides not? We signed the agreement with them about a week. Well, I guess it was about a week ago. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, not unless they were there
They're doing so much now
yesterday.
with GPS. Yeah, might not even see them out there. We'll see them out there. But have a car pass throughout there. which will take care of, and you're so right,
That's a big eyesore. The first
it's
hole,
a disgrace, what it is.
that's an impression maker, and it's not a good one.
We did get, Matthew got right there, that drop off there, got that fixed for.
For the gym hitch, yeah. it was.
That needed to get done, so thank you, Matthew, you got that done. So. But that's really the only improvements that we're working on right now. It's still kind of in the infant stages, but you'll be getting a master plan of the car.
Yeah, I think some of those railroad ties, you're getting into a safety issue, where they're rotting out, and some of those steps and stuff like that. Some of these old guys, maybe me too, I don't know, but I mean, when you go to step on them or step up on them.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about.
If we could, I think we should try to incorporate those spots on 16 and 17 T-box into this plan as well.
Write that suit too. Have that on file.
I think that would look really good.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, 'cause-
16 and 17, the little step ways, if we,
Yeah,
now
'cause they're
that
both
the
worn
irrigation
out.
line's not in
They're
the way
wide.
and whatever, we can easily pour some
Yeah.
3-4 foot
Yeah.
steps right there.
Well, Get me all your recommendations in probably the next couple of weeks.
Okay. And going up to 17, it's easier to walk in the grass and
Yeah.
is on those.
Yeah, but if we got some new steps there.
Yeah.
Hey Matthew, this past weekend I did notice on 12, on the north side of it, there's that one tie, that railroad tie that we step up to go up. It's like really, really loose.
Yeah.
So I tried to push it up against the wall, but it's, I don't know if it just needs to be taken out and
It's
something.
rotted.
Yeah. Yeah.
For now, until, obviously.
Some of that stuff just got washed away with the flood,
Yeah.
and then it just, it won't go back like it
Yeah,
was.
it was about a year ago, so let's go ahead and get all that stuff pretty well laid down and get that. That's health and safety issues. We don't need no lawsuits.
Was there, I heard there was a discussion of maybe a concrete curb over there at 16 instead of those telephone poles along the cart path, getting rid of the telephone poles and,
I mean,
or,
Probably
I'd heard that was discussion, I didn't know.
Once the master cart plan
Yeah.
is done, we can add to maybe curb and stuff like that. We just need an overall plan where cart path's supposed to go. And then we start building.
Well, or just take those out. I mean,
Well, if you do that, you're gonna have people driving over.
Yeah, if you take those out, everybody be driving down across through there, but no matter what the sign says, they don't pay attention to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything that's in place out there, there's a method to the madness on some of that stuff, and necessity is, the mother of all invention. So, I mean, I think that some of that stuff has been put in place is what we had at the time and what we could afford at the time, and if anybody, we probably maybe, this is probably 20 years ago. I mean, I'm sure it's been out there since I was in high school, some of this stuff. So, I mean, okay, so maybe 30, but anyway, but I mean, I think some of that stuff has just been there because of the necessity of it, and that's what we had on hand at the time. Yeah, you're right. Some of that stuff is rotted out. Some of it's been washed away, and it just needs to, we've never had anybody really care. I mean, like, actually take an interest in it as far as, like, anything from convention tourism to, people who live here and all that. So we've not had a city manager in a while that's really, actually backed up what we talked about.
Well, my standpoint is, it's an asset of the city, and why let it go to district? And it's more of an asset to the city than a lot of people understand.
Exactly.
I come from the economic part of it. I like to play with the golf, but I mean, it's not my favorite sport. But I, as a manager in municipal government, sees the benefits of it. So I want everyone to pay some pretty close attention to what we've got out there and keep it up to quality standards.
Jamie, I wanted to make a correction on that. It's been 30 years since you were in high
Okay,
school.
well, you can just sit down there. Anyway. Okay, I think you probably.
Okay, any
is there any progress update, anything on the ATM machine?
Thank you.
or the Elks Building?
I've met with two of the local banks, and they basically don't want to put an ATM out there. They don't think it'd have enough business, so.
Or do we charge any extra, or are we getting charged extra for using a credit card?
I'm sure you are.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's the standard, that's the world standard.
Transaction fee.
Then,
We don't, well, I
Absolutely.
did, okay, I'll tell you a little story about that. I wanted to charge more, and the rules say you cannot charge more, so, yeah, you are getting charged.
what rules say you can't charge more?
Some to the
Banking rules,
association,
yeah,
something like
you
that.
cannot.
Really? I mean, all these restaurants are saying, hey, you pay cash, you get
Not all of
3%
Now,
off.
I'm just saying
you
what
can
the
offer a
law
discount.
told me to do.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, I met with, First Bank, BOP, they just kind of disregarded what I wanted to do. Equity did come over, made it comment, there's three of them show up, and my goodness, the things you have to do, the protocol, they're worried about.
There's security, yeah.
Just make, another security
Yeah.
part of it. And that's a
Yeah.
similar proposal, and that's been 3 weeks ago, I hadn't heard anything.
I
Yeah.
think they said you have to meet a minimum in order.
I'm thinking like whenever you're doing a Calcutta or something like that, it would be real handy to,
Well, I agree.
for
I agree.
people.
But they didn't feel like there was gonna be enough activity out there to support them.
Well, I guess.
I mean, I appreciate that, but I feel like that between the security and all the steps and everything that you have to take to get where you can put it and all that great stuff. I mean, it's just a sign of the times. I mean, I know that everybody gets charged a fee and all that, but
Well,
I'm not too
it is
concerned about that.
All the requirements on it.
Yeah,
Then they got one set out on the highway, and I never figured that one out.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
That was put there before the requirements.
But, yeah, like I looked into that, and
Yeah.
it just browsed, I don't think there'll ever be one there unless we put it in. I don't think we got to put it private one in.
I think Bob's Bar, I think they own it.
There are some entities that do that. You don't have to go through a bank.
Who's gonna fund it? Who's gonna put the money?
I don't know, a guy just said out there back his pickup.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway,
all right. And then
all of that.
you asked about the Elks.
Yeah, what about where are we at on finalizing on the Elks Building and everything?
The city had ordered a survey, and I do know for a fact the survey is complete. There is a little bit of encroachment, so there's a little bit of legal stuff that they're looking into, and throughout the years, so we should have that done. It's the only thing we like to close on the piece of property. I think the survey was completed about 2 weeks ago. And it takes them about 2 to 3 weeks to draw the draft up the language. And they found some discrepancies, so we're working through the legal part of that.
Okay.
Don't ask me what we're gonna do with it. I don't know. We're fine. We're good.
All right, any other comments, discussions? Just
I've got a few, just one. I thought this was a good place to come. It's pretty informal, but thank you all for serving on the boards. I think you're doing an excellent job. Some things are starting to happen and click. What I want to talk about first, Randy will be familiar with the Lieutenant Governor's golf course trail of Oklahoma.
yes.
They've been putting a lot of tourism dollars into, one, they started out into the fishing trails of Oklahoma, and now he's done the golf course. The only problem is Boiling Springs is the furthest west that's on his team. So anyway, I became aware of this more so whenever the Hits tournament was coming on. So I took some pictures, I sent some information to the Lieutenant Governor, and And I think they just overlooked us, but anyway, now that everything's kind of slowed down a little bit, I want to actively pursue us getting included. And I wanted to inform you all and see, just get a kind of a, not a commitment, not a vote, but is everybody kind of in agreement with that? You see?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Brian brought it up last meeting that.
Yes.
I communicated with his staff in February. So they're aware.
Here's one of my thoughts. We were out there, and I've just recently, I'm getting more and more from the Oklahoma Municipal League, who represents us on so many facets of the city. Requests for drone footage, neat things you got in your town, other things they're trying to put together some stuff to just show other towns what other towns are doing. So one of the things I want to do with the Lieutenant Governor before I work on getting down here, and with all the rain we've had, it's beautiful. But I don't know if there's any drone footage of the golf course.
I did get some at the Jim Hitch, yes.
Huh?
I did get some from the Jim Hitch, yes.
Well, anyway, my thought was to get, maybe, I think our police department, I'm not sure, right, didn't they just get a drone? Well, maybe the police department could use shooting some drone footage as training with the new drone. Sheriff's office has one. Anyway, I'm gonna actively pursue, and I've got a pretty good link with the Lieutenant Governor, getting us on that. But the other thing is, and I think it's advantageous, and also need to start using on advertising, because it's not going to be too long when the casino's going to finish their hotel. And I personally believe that that'll bring people behind them to go to the casino. And if they got a motel where they can stay, a lot of people play golf during the daytime, or the husbands will, or the wives will, while the other ones either rest them up to gamble that night. And I think it's going to open a big door for the golf course as far as bringing out-of-town people. And once the word gets out about how to good golf course, you all have made it, I think it's going to grow exponentially. The second thing was when I was at the Hitch tournament, I was on the, and this weekend I was lucky enough, I was supposed to play in the 50 under over with Scott, and he got cheated, so I just got a cart and followed before grandson. And that's probably the most time I've spent at the golf course in a long time. It looks excellent. There's little things that we need to do, but those will all happen. But one of the things I saw, and this happened to me at the Hitch, I'm a scrambles player. When I go to the municipal league conferences and stuff, they always have the scramble. I play mostly for the friendships that I developed along the way. But the other day at the golf course, when I was walking, and I don't know the golf course that well, I feel like nothing elaborate, but I think we ought to consider something that could be easily moved, relocated. Kind of like you got the sign up that points the way to that number 10, or whatever. I guess the 10 tee box or whatever. I think some direction signs. Most of the bigger courses downstate that we played on in these deals have little direction signs, kind of like this green's this way, this green's that way. And we're bringing in people who have never set foot on that course. And if they get lost, or, they can hold up play for everybody behind them. Maybe they're going to one hole and they need to be the other. So he says you need to go there. Those are just thoughts. But the golf trails of Oklahoma, I think is very important that we get on that, because I don't like being overlooked, because we've got such a quality golf course, and we're so proud of it. And it looks wonderful. Of course, the rain didn't hurt anything. At least we had the moisture to help us get through a little more of the summer. But again, thank you all so much for that. It's really not a question and answer time, but good. Any of you have any requests or anything you'd like to see me do or try to do other than this? But thank you all for your hard work.
Thank you.
Yeah, kudos to Matt and his group. They have really done a hell of a job. It's, of course, in beautiful shape in spite of the weather and everything else. So you've done good, son. Done good.
Appreciate it.
I went out, watched some of the Hitch tournament and talked to a lot of people from out of town, and they were all amazed at the course, how it looked, how it played, especially the greens. And
Yes.
the course is in better shape than I've ever seen it.
Yes, and that leads me into, I'll just take this time to thank everybody for the help at the Gym Hitch. It's a lot. It's 2 days, but basically 3 days of a tournament.
For you.
And I know for me, it's not. It's probably more like months, and it is for Matthew also. But and the staff out there, everything went beautifully this year. We're finally kind of getting some rain on that to make it a better tournament with our boards and everything else. People that came in are, I don't like things being called the best kept secret. I don't like them to be a secret. I want it to be that it's out there. I don't, then they need to be a secret. We need people to know that we have a great golf course out here. And a lot of people do travel to it. And I mean, it's people are very impressed. They think it's just going to be a flat with not a lot of personality. We have a lot of personality on that course. And it was just, we had a good tournament. And like I said, not only just the course and the way the shape that it's in, also, but all the support from all the city entities and the local and the community and everything else to welcome these people. And they were just very impressed at Guyman and how welcoming we are, and that any little thing that they needed, was taken care of, and it was able to be taken care of here, not only with our shops and stores and restaurants and hotels and stuff like that. So that makes me very proud of the community. Like my grandmother always said, if you're lucky enough to be raised, to live in the community that you were raised in, then you helped raise that next community. And so I just appreciate everybody stepping up and helping with that.
Yeah. I think they had about 100 contestants, and 90% of them were from out of town.
We did. Yes, you're right. Maybe that's something for another rainy day that we need to talk about is we need to get those kids out there on the course so that we can continue to have memberships, we continue to have high school golf and all that. So, yeah. And then the college also, that kind of helps some of those kids that maybe want to play college golf, and maybe at OPSU, you never know. But, yeah, we need to start bringing a younger generation along also.
All right, any other comments or suggestions?
I've been approached by a few people, older people, I'll put it that way, that is wondering if we could possibly maybe open up the approaches a little bit wider on some of the holes, and maybe extend the fairways closer to the tee boxes, like on 12 or 2 and 14. So I know some people hit a good drive and can't get to the fairway on 14.
Yeah. Well,
if it's possible.
definitely the plan with number 2 was where we used to cut that fairway, there used to be a bunch of bad spots of just dirt patches and whatnot.
Yeah.
So the goal was to make that fairway closer to the green, if that makes sense, so that we could establish some of that grass and whatnot, so that it's not just getting mowed over and over and over. And so the goal was to try to maybe shrink that fairway just a little bit so we could get that grass healthy enough so that in the future we can lengthen it back out. It's just, we can kind of tell what happened on number 5. We put the grass down, we had it growing really good, and I think what happened was that we just over mowed it to death, and now we're kind of struggling with the same problems that we had before we even started that whole goal. So we're trying different things. Some are working, some obviously aren't. So we're just trying to see what we can do. But I totally get it. Some of those fairways have kind of shrunk in terms of length and whatnot, but we're trying some different things to hopefully get them back, instead of maybe just having to resod them or do something like that.
Okay. What about possibly widen out some of the approaches? Would that be especially on 5, it's off to the side and small, and it's just hard to get a ball to.
We can maybe try to change some of the layouts a little bit.
Okay, that,
Something to think about.
that'd be fine. That'd be great if you could.
Brian?
Yeah. I've just been to a handful of courses, like 2 or 3 lately, where they have robotic. I don't know if I've seen them doing fairways, mostly rough, but robotic mowers, GPS, battery powered. I have not run the math. I don't know exactly. It's usually smaller courses. Hugoton and Satana are the 2 that I'm talking about, where they're I don't know if they're just doing it because they like to fiddle with technology, or if they see it as an effective way to save money and manpower efficiency. I have no idea. I just thought I'd bring the thought to the table and get your guys' opinion and kind of plant a seed to see if there's any way to research cost and feasibility. I don't know. It's just something to think about. It's becoming more and more popular.
Do you go to any shows?
No.
Are there any things like that? I mean,
there are some, but
Yeah, I mean,
they're like
they range all the way from
4
$3 grand to like 20 grand
Yeah,
size and the deck width. I mean,
Yeah.
it gets pretty fancy all the way to.
I know Buffalo Dunes has some.
Yeah.
But they have, I can't remember if it's 6 or 8 bays.
Yeah.
So there's 2 per bay.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be an investment
Yeah.
in doing so, but I think that more and more courses are seeing it as a viable option to mow the grass. It always grows, isn't that weird, Matt? Yeah. So I just thought I'd bring it up. I certainly haven't read any studies or anything that shows the feasibility, but it is becoming more popular. Yeah.
Technology is years.
Sure. That's all I got. Sorry.
No.
Apologize for my tardiness.
No.
so where's the board? Is there
Anything else?
posted or anything like that? Close-
I have a couple things. The next meeting is August 19th, and if you'll please make sure that you sign in. And just to follow up to submit ideas for the master plan to Mr. Shannon in the next couple weeks. That's all I got.
I'll make the motion that we adjourn the meeting. Seconded by Mr. Moon. Meeting's adjourned.
All right. What date did you say? 18th? 19th. That was always Tuesday.
How'd you do on the Calcutta?
Here, you want this?
No?
No. Let's put it this way. I didn't win any money. It's good seeing you.
Good seeing you.
No.
All right, see you guys. Matt, see you.
I'll see you.
That's how. You're not gonna like